Hi, and welcome back to Trying to with Leah. So I have tried to do this video a couple of times as well. Actually, this is my third attempt, I think. I just want to do more of like a free flowing type deal. So that is what I'm trying today. So this is going to be much less editing in my videos moving forward because I want to be just far more authentic and conversational, if that makes sense. So hopefully that does. But anyway, so today I decided we can go through some of my childhood stories and we'll talk about some of the things that I have learned along the way. I was completely covered in eczema when I was born, and my Mimi, who I've mentioned in a previous video as well, we always have this fun story that we tell, at family events and stuff. But she had a little freak out when she saw me because she was like, "Why is she? What is this? What's she covered in?" And of course, it was eczema all over me. I had eczema patches everywhere when I was born, so that can be quite alarming. But we always laugh because she did the same thing with my sister, but for a very different reason. So when my sister was born, it was a normal birth. Her skin was not covered in eczema. And, when babies are born, they get their feet dipped in ink and you get these cute little footprints and stuff and handprints and everything. And so they had just done her footprints whenever my Mimi came in to see her. And of course, the first thing she saw is her feet are black. Why are her feet black? She was freaking out about it. And so we always laugh about that because poor Mimi, freaked her out twice. Both of her grandkids are just, mutants. Anyway, and so we're going to talk about my worst OCD story when I was very young, and then we will kind of talk about what I've learned from that. So when I was probably about 5 or 6, I was playing in the living room in our childhood home, and I was running around and everything, and tripped and fell face first into the coffee table. So I busted open my eyebrow and I'm bleeding and everything, freaking out, crying, all of that stuff. And my OCD brain took over and was like, hey, nothing is ever going to be right with the world again unless you back up and do it to the other side just as hard. So, of course, unfortunately, I was too weak at age 5 to tell my brain no, and had to back up and do it again. So I have another scar going across my eyebrow on the other side. So fun stuff. But as I got older, I kind of learned to overcome that in a lot of ways. I still deal with OCD. I still deal with anxiety on a daily basis. I still deal with both. But I have gotten much better at controlling what affects me and what puts me into anxiety and what does not. So, used to be I would walk into the doctor's office and there's a bunch of paintings and one of them's off balance and I'm just like staring at it and freaking out, and can I fix it? Should I go fix it? I just want to fix it. So but I didn't. I would just sit there and let it be. And I have learned to understand that not everything is going to be perfect. Not everything is in my control. So even if my body and my brain is telling me, you have to do this, ultimately, I'm the one that has control to go, no, I don't. I appreciate that you're telling me that I have to do this and that you feel so out of whack because this is, off kilter or whatever, but I make the ultimate decision as to how I react and what affects me. And that took me a really long time to learn, but I did eventually learn it. And that's how I kind of broke free from my OCD and anxiety, was to literally tell myself that I am stronger than both emotion, logic, all of that stuff. I am stronger than that because OCD illogical things seem logical. OCD tells you that nothing is logical unless you do it this way. It's not logical for you to leave the room unless you turn the light on 50 times. You have to make it to 50. If you don't, it's not logical for you to leave the room, but that was kind of a tangent. But that's how I got kind of through it, is going, okay, well, if OCD is tricking my brain into thinking that illogical things are logical, then I'm going to trick my brain right back to say that, okay, I see that. I know what that is. I recognize that. That's OCD. That's anxiety. It does not have control over me. I may be feeling it at the moment, but it does not have control over me. I have control over me, and it can only affect me if I let it affect me. Once you fully believe that and understand that and grow to heal from your OCD and your anxiety like that, then it's true. When you do have the control, that's how you get out of that cycle, basically, is just to recognize that you are the one ultimately with the power. And it is a battle. It is a battle for sure. And it's a lifelong battle, because things will still pop up. Things will still come up throughout your life that you're just like, well, I can choose to react the way I used to react, where I just let it completely roll over me, just completely run me over, and just lay there and let it happen. Or I can choose to say, nope, that's not going to happen to me. Good try though. Thanks. And move on. Okay. So the next story I wanted to talk about. So when I was about 5, I don't know, somewhere around there, kindergarten. Yeah. So when I was in kindergarten, I got asked that question that everybody gets asked. What's your favorite color? Buddy the Elf. Anyway, but so my answer was always black. I loved black as a color as a kid. And I think that kind of is deep seated in my people pleasing tendencies, if you will. Yeah, I would always hang back. Like, all the other kids would go for all the colors and everything, and I would hang back and wait until everybody got their colors. And usually what was left was black and brown and a couple other colors, and that's it. But I would usually choose black because I'm like, okay, yeah, I'll do all of the stuff that I need to be black on my page first, and then I'll go after the colors, because everybody's done with the yellows and the pinks and the blues and the greens by then, But that was just me not wanting to be confrontational, which I think is a lot of my people pleasing as well, is just not. I am a non-confrontational person. Always have been. I don't like confrontation. I don't like arguing. I don't like fighting. I don't like yelling. I don't like disagreeing even with people. But yeah, I had to learn that disagreeing with people is not a bad thing. But I always wanted to be like the type of person that, I'm easygoing. I'm go with the flow. I am down for whatever. It's cool with me, I'm non-judgmental, things like that. So I tried really hard in my life to live up to that, because that's the way I wanted to be. And I really feel like I did a decent job at that, but that was also self-destructive in a lot of ways, Sorry, I have horrible allergies this week for some reason. I think it's with the weather changing and all of this stuff. So please excuse the nose and the congestion, because it's going to be there for a little while. So hopefully next week it'll be better, and we'll have to see. If you have not noticed, I talk a lot. I have talked a lot since I was a kid. My parents always told me that I would just like start with a story, and I'd be going with a story, and I would just go with the story forever and ever and ever and just keep going on. And they'd be 20 minutes deep into this story and no end in sight, none. So as a coping mechanism, my parents decided to be like, okay, Leah, okay, mommy and daddy's ears hurt. We've listened a lot, and it's time to stop talking. Our ears hurt. Our ears are just, we can't take any more talking. So that was their coping mechanism. And so I grew up very gullible. And I fully 100% believed that as you became an adult, your ears, like you would get ear problems, like really bad, painful ear problems. I was very concerned about, all adults really, because if you were just around kids that talk too much, your ears would start to hurt. Like that was really, really serious. So, yeah, thanks for that, Mom and Dad. But anyway, so when I was probably 10 or 11 or something like that, I created my first comic book series. It was called Nose Man. And Nose Man was a crime-fighting hero. He was basically just a nose with legs sticking out of his nostrils and no eyes. Nope. But he was a crime-fighting hero. And he would, fight his enemies by shooting his snot of justice at them. He would just kind of kick a leg out there and like snot of justice comes flying out and just traps his enemies. So if you would like to see Nose Man come to fruition, let me know. I will try and work on that in my spare time. I don't know. We'll see what happens with that. My parents always said that I grew up in La La Land. I just wasn't very observant of what was going on around me. I just kind of was off in my own little world all the time. So that was just kind of me. Still is a little bit, but we grow, we change. But yeah, so they would always tell me that I was just kind of doing my own thing. And that was very, very true. I was kind of oblivious. I just kind of float along and do. But yeah, so we would go out to eat. And one time we went out to eat and we were coming out of the restaurant and we were going out to the parking lot and I was off in my own little world. I don't know, probably singing a song in my head like I did 24/7. And yeah, I got into my mom's car and I got into the, front passenger seat because I was always trying to race my sister to get to the front passenger seat. You know how it is. You always want a shotgun. But anyway, so I got shotgun and I sat down and I started looking around and I'm like, this is not my mom's car. These are not my mom's items. And then there were dice hanging on the mirror and I'm like, definitely not my mom's. So I panicked and got out of the car and looked at my mom and she's just standing there like, get out of that lady's car. But yeah, luckily I got out in time because that would have been really awkward, really, really awkward. But when I was asked the other classic question, what do you want to be when you grew up? What do you want to be when you grow up? I said grow up. Anyway, my answer was always the next Oprah. Still is. Crazy enough. Anyway, so basically what that all means is that I wanted to be able to change somebody's life with a single sentence. I wanted to be able to go, you get a car and you get a car and you get a car, in a much more impactful way than just giving random people cars. I wanted to be the kind of person, I hear about you struggling about something. I hear that you're really trying to work on things and change your life. I'm going to step in and I'm going to do whatever needs to be done for you at that point in time. If that's pay your bills for a couple of months, now Let me be clear. I cannot afford to do this right now. Don't come at me for any kind of stuff like that. But once I get to that point, if I do get to that point eventually, I will be that kind of person that if I come into wealth, I'm going to give back, because that's just what's right. That's what's right. If you make millions and millions of dollars, you should be giving millions and millions of dollars to good causes, of course, take care of yourself, take care of your family, all of that stuff. But after that is taken care of, anything that is left over should go back into making the world a better place. And if it's not, then what are you doing? What are you doing with it? Because it can't be for the greater good. It can't be for the people. It can't be for, then you're spending it on yourself. So you're either being selfish or, just blowing it on stuff that you don't need. So I don't know, hopefully millionaires, the celebrities, and all of those people one day will see this video and understand that we as the American people, we see that they are making bukus of money every year, bukus of money, hand over fist, all the time, for movies, for music, for all of this different stuff. And yes, some of them do give back and they are very generous, but they are a rare few, and they shouldn't be rare. It should be every single person that is at that level making that much money should be dedicated to making the world a better place with that money, because what else are you using it for other than selfish reasons, if not that? So as of today, here's a little health update. So I am down to 164 pounds as of today, and still going down, still trucking along, still, working out every single day. I am walking every single day. Of course, being that I'm a human and I still have a life and I just started a YouTube channel, sometimes I don't get to go on as long of a walk as I want to go, or whatever the case may be. I did start lifting weights in the evenings as well, because I've started to lose quite a bit around my stomach and on my legs and everything. And then I still have the arms to deal with and the back fat and all of that stuff. So still working on those in a different way by lifting weights now, which has been really helpful for me, especially with my back pain. Working daily on helping my body feel better, and that's a big deal for me. I did not focus on that at all before. So just the fact that I'm here, just the fact that I'm doing this is a huge accomplishment for me. And I am proud of myself. So next, I'm going to show you guys a video that I kind of did on a whim, but I really wanted to make a point this video. So hopefully you are open and receptive to that.
So when you have a problem, you can look at the problem and you can kind of glance over the problem and go, oh, no. I don't see any possible solution. That's an option. It's also an option to look at a problem and say, man, I don't see a way out of this, but maybe one of my friends might. Maybe somebody who knows a little bit more than me might. And I don't think people do that enough when they see the problems of today's world. When you look around and you go, okay, we have a lot of people who are very passionate about issues that have been strong for them since, their experience, their life has made these things be important. They've had a friend who was going through X, Y, or Z, which makes them care about this, Everyone is like that. Every single one of us has issues that we are very passionate about. We have different hot topics that we're like, I really care about this because this has affected me in my life. And just like that, we can also not care about issues because we haven't had any experiences that made those issues relevant for us. Now, that doesn't mean that those other issues are any less important. It doesn't mean that they aren't just as important as the issues that we are so passionate about. It just means that different people have different experiences, which make them care about different things in life. And why is that wrong? Why should that be wrong that we're different? Why should it be wrong that someone thinks directly opposite as from what I think? They think the exact opposite of what I think. That's okay, because without that, we wouldn't have these brilliant minds that can work together to create solutions that none of us could have thought of on our own. I view things as, if you look at, let's say you look at two different people, and these two people, one of them is very set in their ways on this side, and the other one is very set in their ways on the exact opposite side. Those people care about their own issues for a reason. So why is it that one has to be right and one has to be wrong? Why is it that one of them wins and one of them loses? Why is it that we have to have this dividing line where instead we need to be going, okay, well, these issues are important to this person and these issues are important to this person. So why don't we come up with a solution that addresses everyone's issues without making everyone feel like they're not important, or they're not being heard, or something like that? You can look at a problem and say, I don't see a peaceful way forward. And I think that's what a lot of people see right now. That's what a lot of people feel and think, is that there is no peaceful way forward. I don't believe that. Call me delusionally optimistic. I do all the time, and I will gladly take that title. I am delusionally optimistic, and I hope that there are other people out there that are also delusionally optimistic as well. Because if you don't believe that a peaceful solution is possible, then it isn't possible for you. But I want to live in a world where a peaceful solution is the way forward. So if you feel the same way, let me know if you are also #delusionally optimistic. Okay. But I really feel like, we have an opportunity to listen to each other, to work together, and to address everyone's issues instead of just half of the people's issues, and still have a peaceful way forward, still have a peaceful way forward, still have a way to build unity instead of just feeding into all of this division that we see. Let's actually have people caring about one another again and viewing each other as people and not just the opposition. That's my spiel for today. That's my little rant. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I don't know. But I'm sure it's probably triggering for a lot of people. I'm sorry if that's the case, but at the same time, I feel like we are at a point in this world that we need to really look at where our future is headed and what we can do to hopefully steer it in the right direction.
I have gotten to the point where I am going to have to accept with this YouTube channel that I'm not everyone's cup of tea. I know that already. There are people that I clash with. There are people that just we don't get along very well, or for some reason we don't vibe with each other, and that's okay. That is perfectly fine. And if I am not your cup of tea, there are so many other cups of tea out there for you. So you can find one that is your perfect flavor, and hopefully I'm somebody's perfect flavor of tea for what they want to watch. So yeah, if that's you, cool. Glad you're here, and bring your friends. I kind of want to build like a tribe of people. I want to have a group of people that also are delusionally optimistic about the world, and are also ready to work on themselves and their own lives and turn things around for themselves, and really truly start to understand who they are and what they believe. And it's a learning process for sure, to separate out what you truly believe from what you've been told you're supposed to believe. Those two things are very different. And we have been told a lot of things that we should believe, that as you get older, you're like, no, that doesn't really make sense. That doesn't, no, just no. So, yeah, if you're one of those people that is open to deciding for yourself and, forming your own opinions, then cool. I'm super pleased that there's somebody else out there. So yeah. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here. It's not easy to go through all of this. It's not fun a lot of the time. Sometimes it is. Hopefully these stories today were fun for you. I love to laugh at myself, so it was fun for me to tell them. But I really hope that something in these videos sparks for you. Something ignites a fire in you to want to make change, to want to improve your life, to want to improve the world around you, to, I want to create a passion within people to get us to a better world. So, if you are interested in that as well, I'm so glad. And you're trying to with me. You're trying to. So, thank you for trying. And I will see you next time, where we will try some more together.
Little black SUV driving next to me. Can you stay in your lane? Drifted once, now again, little SUV. You drive like you're insane. Oh, can it be the Lord is testing me, wants me to get it right? I don't really know how this is gonna go, but I'll try with all my might. But I'm always down to fight.
So to start us off, I will start at the very beginning, the day I was born. So the day I was born was a wonderful day. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, it was, though. It was.